All right. We live, we live, we live. Peace, peace, peace to the family. Give me just a few minutes, man, and we gonna rock and roll with this presentation. So I'm gonna play a music for a few minutes and invite send this out in a few groups. And then I'll come back on, and then I'll let Sean, if Sean want to say something, Sean on the panel right now, my other Mossi brother, if he want to say something, he can speak in a few minutes before I jump into it. But just give us a few minutes and we're gonna get started. Just check out this till I start. So give me about 5 minutes and we're gonna jump straight into the presentation. All right. Gonna go ahead and jump into the presentation. Before I get started, I want to say ETM Hotel. I want to say Dua Dua U. I want to say Rene E Kofi Paisai, Hekanu N, Amin Ra, Kwa E Sekum, Dua Netcha, Dua Abet E, Alafi Madupe, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Igungun Majube Iba Igungun Kiki, Igungun. Brother Sean, you got any words you want to say before I get started?
Appreciate everybody. And man, I'm looking forward to an impactful and informative show from Sen Kofi. Again, Duau Abit. And man, rock it out.
All right, so we finna get started. Let me share my screen real quick. Seeing Sean, can you see my screen?
See you.
All right. All right. Peace, Jadar, Hotep, Senet, Monica. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking out with your boy. Maybe we can get a few of the Mossi other brothers in here later on, or we can get Brother Ben in here later on. This presentation is called the Mossi Presentation. So I'm gonna walk you through some of the people of Mossi and the Kingdom Empire, which expired the name the Mossi Warrior Clan. So I'm gonna walk you through some of that information, and then we're gonna go straight from that information into the Mossi Warrior Clan of 2018 and how its conception started in 2006. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the brothers on the Mossi Warrior Clan and what we got coming up in the near future from each individual. So let's get into it. Again, the presentation is called the Mossi Presentation. All right, before we get started, this is our phrase before we do anything. We finna get ready to go to war. So let's go to war. Oh, my bad. But let's go to War Family. And family, share the video if you know somebody that wanna may appreciate this information. Send them the link to the channel. Uh, so let's get into it. Let's go to war. All right. I always have to give a disclaimer out before I get started with anything that I do. My disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. And that information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms of use at my own discretion. All trademarks, design rights, copyrights, registers, names, mottos, logos, avatars, or signals, and marks used or cited by this website are the properties of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available and or adapt, change, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions, encouraged. All right. Again, for everybody that's been following me and rocking out with me on my presentation, this is a saying of mine: as I learn, we all learn. And again, as I continue to expound on information, learn information, I'm going to pass this information down to the family. Our my Masonic brothers say, what they say, giving light, you shedding light. Also, I believe that anything that we may learn, no matter what it is, whether we think it's small or big, we should be able to pass that information down to someone else that may not know. Again, this is the only way that I feel like we'll be able to succeed, excel, and grow as a people as we learn things and we pass that information on down in order for us to grow. All right, the Mossi states. Mossi states, Burkina contains the cities of Ouagadougou, Kangousa, Kia, Kudugu, Ouagadougou, and I have Ouagadougou in darker letters than the rest of them because Ouagadougou is the capital of the Mossi people. The Manga, the Tenkodogo, the Copula, the Busala. The Mossi states were well placed for trade. They were inland from the Great Bend to the Niger River, where the empires of Ghana, Mali, and Sango rose and fell. At the same time, they were north of the Ashanti and of others of the Akan state that comes from a prominence as traded shifted from Trans-Sahara toward Europeans' outposts on the coast. So let's get this established. If y'all hadn't looked at, which I'll shout out the video that I recommend you go back and watch after you look at this one. But the Mossi it was no such thing as a Mossi warrior clan. We'll get into that later on in the presentation. It was the Mossi, these groups of these states are groups of tribes of people that came together and formed the Mossi. We're gonna get into that whole story, the storyline, and how it all transpired. But you have these are some of the states here that I gave up here at the top. If you can see my pointer, you're gonna learn a little bit more about Tenkodogo and Ouagadougou, which is the capital of the Mossi, which is in Burkina. The Mali, the Ghana, the Songhay, and a few other were also a part of the Mossi state. The Dogon that's in the Mali was also a part. I mean, Dogon people was also a part of the Mossi. Now, Ouagadougou is also spelled Ouagadougou, capital of the largest town of Burkina Faso, Western Africa. It was a capital of the historical Mossi kingdom of Ouagadougou and the seat of the Moho Naba, which means great king. Of the Mossi people, the Moho Naba still lives, or Mori. Now you will see it spelled Moro also, Mori. Mori Naba still lives in the city through his power were greatly eclipsed by the French colonial and the post-independent administration. So we'll get into the French colony, which came later on. And I have a map over here. You can see Burkina Faso, and you can see the capital here. This is the This was the Mossi people's capital right here. Then you have Tenkodogo right here. So we're going to talk about Tenkodogo right here. But I mentioned some of these other places here. The Aguyaya here, the Kangasisi, the Kaya, and I know I'm pronouncing the names wrong, so just bear with me, family. Manga, Kadugugu right here. So these are some of the states right here that was also a part of the were Mossi states, and they went so far into Cate d'Ivoire, which is known as the Ivory Coast. So the kingdom went from Burkina Faso into the Ivory Coast, which is here, went into Ghana, Togo, and Benin. So this whole area in here was a part of the Mossi Empire. So again, it spread it from Burkina Faso into the Ivory Coast, into Ghana, Togo, and also in Benin. All right, I hope y'all can see this up here. I got this out of the Encyclopedia of African Religion. This is a book, and I have the hard copy and the PDF file. Okay, the Mossi, the Moshi, the Mossi, or according to recent anthrographic, Musi, pronounced Mose, or an ethnic or cultural group of farmers. So the Mossis was a big group of farmers who lived mainly in Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, which I may saying it wrong, but this is the Ivory Coast, which I showed you on the map a while ago, and north of Ghana. The total number of Mossi is difficult to determine because they have a history of immigrating for work to other regions. In West Africa, a history that predates colonialism. The Mossi also are known historically for their staunch resistance first to Islam and later Christianity. So the Mossi was also historically known for fighting and resisting religion, resisting Islam and resisting Christianity, which the Mossi Empire was the last to be colonized in the late 18, early 1900s. We'll get into that further on in the presentation. However, this is the changing in Burkina Faso, where Mossis are approximately 40% of the population. The number of Mossis in the country who are Muslims is 50%, but this was later on. They fought against religion. They fought against Islam and they fought against Christianity until they was colonized in the late 18th century, early 19th century. So this here, they giving you the figures of the numbers after they was colonized when the French came in. But they fought their first attempt or their first war because they was conflict free for 400 to 500 years, if I'm not mistaken, where it was no war and no conflict or nothing. And then they fought. I think their first battle was with the Songhai, and the Songhai Empire was those Africans that was in that region that became Arab, I call Arabanized, who was Arabanized by the Arabs and they became Muslims. So they fought against this Muslim state or this Muslim empire and Songhai in the early 13th, the late 13th, early 1400s, where they warred against the Songhai Empire. I think they was conflict free for 400 years before they fought against the Songhai, and then they wasn't colonized until the late 1800s. I can't remember exactly the date, but I have the date in this presentation. So it says the number of Mossis in the number of Mossis in the countries are Muslims are 50%, a number are Christians, and the rest practice their indigenous spiritual system, which we're going to get into the spiritual system also of the Mossi. We're going to get into a whole lot of stuff that's going on with the Mossi. Although some reject or condemn traditional religious belief and practice, many still practice a varied degree, making traditional Mossi religion the dominant factor in the daily lives of the most Mossis in Burkina Faso today. Religious expressions consist mainly of the following: Rogo Miki, the way of the ancestors, which includes performance rituals to acknowledge the proponent ancestral spirits and natural forces. This is something that you see all throughout Africa and their spiritual systems. I don't care what reason you're going to, all of which emanates from Wendi, the supreme being, all of which the Mossi understands impacts every aspect of life. And it's the supreme deity is Wendi. It didn't say Jesus, didn't say Muhammad. It says Wendi, the supreme being, and all of which the Mossi understands impacts every aspect of their lives. The entry looks at their traditional religion, its ancestor worship, and its belief about one God, about gods. So you will see that all throughout African Hotel Arkley Buckley, you will see this is. I don't care where you go. If you look at the people in the Khan, the in Ghana, if you look at the people who practice voodoo, the Fan people that practice voodoo in Benin, the same concept. You got a creator, you got lesser deities, you got ancestor veneration, and you got divination. If you look into southwestern Nigeria, you got the Yoruba people that eating same tradition in Ifa. If you go into North Africa, whether you go into West Africa, and you same thing. You got the supreme being Amen Ra. You got the lesser deities, the Netcher-Us, and so forth. Same thing when you go into Congo. You go into Central Africa. The same concepts apply here. A supreme being or a creator, lesser deities, ancestor veneration, and divination. So these major components of Mossi religion, one in general, African believes in a Otis, high God, who creates the universe but has no role in his daily life. There are lesser, they're talking about the lesser deities, his many manifestations or her many manifestations or its many manifestations, but more relevant, supernatural powers that governs the two major elements of life, soil, fertility, and rainfall. They are worshipped by conducting rituals at a specific site, often trees or the sites where one grooves, or rocks outcrops. Lastly, one most immediately are the ancestors in a patrilineage who plays an active role in regulating the behaviors and success of their descendants. In the interest of lineage, the ancestors link the past, present, and the future. And again, you see this all throughout Africa. And again, the supreme being, which I said they no different than anybody else. Supreme being or creator, which was Winnam. You had the lesser deities, the Wendy, the ancestor veneration, and you had divination. They had this. They got the same thing going on, and no matter what African tradition it is, this is the same thing that goes on. So we established that they have their system was Roko Minky. They believed in a supreme deity or a creator. They had lesser deities. They did ancestor veneration or ancestor worship, and they also had diviners where they did divination. So I'm gonna let Ben talk about the divination system a little bit. We kind of got established. We know what the supreme being is, or what the creator, one that creates the universe and everything, right? We know the lesser deities. Those lesser deities are those the forces in nature, things that deal with the universe, deals with the earth, whether it's wind, water, fire, land, and so forth. So now we know about ancestor veneration. We know that we honor and we revere our ancestors, where we set up the Oja Ogun in the Yoruba culture, the face of the ancestors, or the ancestral shrine, where we dedicate things on the shrine to our ancestors, and we invoke our ancestors and ask our ancestors for certain things, for protection, and reiterating certain laws that govern the society if we was in that society. So now with the divination, I'm gonna let Brother Ben talk about the Mossi divination real quick, and then I will recommend a video of the Mossi the Mossi diviner video, where you can go and look at the Mossi diviner video and verify some of the things that Brother Ben is saying in the video. Let me get to the point of the video, because I didn't have time to chop the video up. But I know where the marker at. Let me make sure I know what I'm okay. 30. Okay. Give me 1 second. We'll just start right here.
Come into play, and why? In their spiritual system, they have diviners, as I spoke of earlier, in the city called.
So this is Brother Ben. Brother Ben, known as Black Panther. He's gonna be talking about the diviners, the Mossi diviners, real quick.
Dablo. It was called Dablo. Now, what I've noticed in African traditions is they'll have some type of sound to call the spirits forward. In Ifa, they have a tapper, and they tap it against a tray, which is called an Opan Ifa. In other traditions, they'll have a horn, or in Akan, they have a war horn called the Akoba. In Mossi tradition, they have a gong. So they hit the sound of the gong before they start their divination system. Now, their priests have a whole diviner outfit. And I actually got to give a shout out to Pit Boss, because he put me on this video about a Mossi diviner. And I watched the video, and man, if I didn't know what tradition it was, I would swear it was somewhere else in Africa. So they do the exact same thing. But the diviner wears this outfit of amulets and crowry shells. And, the priests are called Baga. The costumes they wear are passed down through their family's lineage. So, like I said earlier, family is very important. If your father was a priest, you're most likely going to be a priest too. He's going to give you his priestly robes and garbs. So the costumes can be sometimes 100 years old. And it's the ancestors that bring the natural personifications of nature, which we call spirits, to us in their tradition. And the diviner will do a dance to call the spirits to attend. And it is quoted as one of the Mossi priests is saying, whenever I dance, the ancestors intervene. Now, the divination and the dances are linked. You can't do one without the other. And the crest he wears is called Zolbaga. The pants he wears is called a Wale. They do an animal sacrifice before the tradition, and a sacred salve called the yaka, which is also can be used as a weapon. The Mossi kingdom has they're predominantly polygamous. That's a part of their traditional culture. So now that you know about,
all right, not gonna play the whole video, but just wanted to try to get y'all to understand the baga, which is the priest. And he was just talking about the priest and some of the things he kind of described, some of the things that they work for as the cowrie shells that's on the clothing for as before they do any type of like the Opon Ifa. If you looked at my man, what's the name of the introduction of Yoruba Part 3, where I break down the different things that the diviner used, the Babaluau. In Yoruba, it would be Babaluau. It's Baga. In the Masi, that's the priest. And he in Yoruba culture, they use the Opon Ifa, which is called a tapper, to tap to alert the ancestors before the divination system. Here, as Brother Ben said, they will use dang, I forgot the bong or whatever you call it, to alert the ancestors. And before doing the divination, uh, singing or dancing was also involved in it, as well as animal sacrifice. You'll see where they sacrifice certain animals and so forth. And here is a screenshot of the video that Brother Ben was talking about. It's let me see if I can remember what the name of it was. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't write it down because I wanted to give. But before I get off, I'll give y'all the name and y'all can go look at it yourself. They also have the DVD. Speaking with the Gods. That's the name of it. Speaking with the Gods, Mossi Diviner. That's the name of it. And I took 2 screenshots. So this is a screenshot of some of the description of what Brother Ben was talking about, what the Baga, which is the priest, would wear. And this is some of his things on here. And that video on YouTube, you can go see. It shows you where they sit down and talk to the priest of the Baga. And then they show, actually, him putting his clothes on, the sacrifice, and so forth. And here is another. This is a drawing. I can't remember the individual that did the drawing of this, but this is the priest here, the diviner here, the Mossi diviner, almost saying of the clothing that the Baga has on. Baga has on here. So in the end, that's the name of the speaking of the gods. I think it's Mossi diviner and not Baga, but Baga is the priest. But if you type it in on YouTube, you can get it, and you can also go on Amazon.com, and they have a complete DVD. Y'all should do a show on how to practice. I'm curious on y'all perspective. I see it a science and philosophy and concepts of divinity. Others many degrees. Yeah, we may do something on that, man. We need to do something on that, Brother Jadar. I'll keep that in mind too. I took something from you too, man, that I'm gonna use, man. My channel is the what you call it, the Netflix of Africanized or something you said in that terms. I screenshotted it though. All right, Mossi deities. So now let's talk about the Mossi deities a little bit more. So we know that let's go back. We know that all African spiritual systems, it has, like I said, no matter where you go, it has a creator. It has lesser deities, it has ancestor veneration, and it has divination. So the Mossi creator or supreme being was called Winang, and the lesser deities was called Wendi, which we're going to get into those lesser deities, ancestor veneration, and divination. Mossi deities, the spirits of the ancestors and the power of the nature of all originated in Wendi, which is a manifestation of life force of Wendi. Wendi is an aloof from humanity, but through these specific manifestations, Wendi impacts lives of the Mossi, and in turn, the Mossi direct their efforts toward these manifestations. The first major manifestation is called Tanga Wendi, or the earth. windy is is responsible for general climate conditions and fertility of the soil. Another is Tido Windy, the plant deity, the source of the plant growths. Ki Windy is the mullet deity and reflects the importance of millets, as which millets is one of their predominant uh, uh, um, economic resources. As the main staple of Masidades, Sanga Windy is an aspect of windy from which the rain comes. And these are different, again, lesser deities or different types of Orisha, different types of Absalom, different types of nature. These are just, I'm throwing out different names from different cultures dealing with the lesser deities. And we know throughout, whether it's with the Orisha, when we talk about wind, these are nothing but natural. This is nothing but things in nature, things in the universe, natural forces and stuff that we're actually thinking. No different than the natural forces when we're dealing with North Kemet with the nature, so or the nature ooze, or we're dealing with the Orishas, you know what I'm saying, the nature ooze when we're dealing with the natural forces in the universe and so forth. Again, when we're dealing with wind, you know, we're dealing with water, we're dealing with fire, we're dealing with, you know, so many different things in nature. So Saga Windy is the aspect of windy from which rain comes. Many ceremonies involving these manifestations mark key monuments in the agriculture yields, fields, preparation, planting, cultivations, and harvest, but they also intertwine with social obligation. And again, remember that the Mossi were predominantly farmers and so forth. Languages of the Mossi. The Mossi language is Moray. It belongs to the Guru group within the Niger-Congo language family. Now, I'm not too swift with the language phylums, you know. So I just put this Niger-Congo, and I know this comes from Greenberg, and we have a lot of issues dealing with Greenberg methodology when it comes to linguistics, which Brother Asad Hotep has talked about on numerous occasions in his books and on some of his live feeds on his channel, also on our Seshuma Ani Meta Nature channel when he presented his Nisabiti book. He has a write up on there about Greenberg and his unscientific method that he's using. So I'm using Niger Congo, but again, I am not a linguistic. You know, I'm not you know sufficient in the language phylums. So if you see Niger Congo and you want to demonize me for using Niger Congo language, if that's not the Pacific, you know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know that I'm not a linguist. And I do know some of the things about dealing with Greenberg. Okay, like many African languages, Moray uses pitches, high or low tones is a distinct meaning. Also, as in other African languages, as verbs form shows the whether its actions are continue or happening only once. A person name shows something about it, his or her birth. As many other West African people, there are Masi names showing the day of the week, then the person was born, or Zumo for a boy, or Zumu for a girl. And excuse the typo, means the child was born on Friday. Hadua born on Sunday, and LeBron the Wednesday. So you can see the same thing because in the Ghana culture, my name is Kofi Paisa. Firstborn, born on Friday. That's what Kofi Paisa means, and it comes from the Akan people. And again, the Masi was a conglomerate of different people. When you're dealing with the people in Mali, the Dogon, whether you're dealing with the Akan people that was in Ghana, or you was dealing with the other, dealing with the Fan people that was in Benin, the people on the Ivory Coast, when you're dealing with the Senegal or Senegal, and so forth. These was amalgamations of people that made the Mossi clan. I mean, not the Mossi clan, but the Mossi people. Because again, there was no Mossi clan warriors during the 11th century all the way up into the late 18th, early 19th century when the French came in and defeated the Mossi and colonized that area. Folklores. there have been few written records in Mossi society, special singers called gritos. And I talked about everybody should be up on the gritos. I talked about the gritos in my African dance presentation, which it's available on my Kofi Paisa channel, but it's also going to be available um, on the Mossi channel. This channel here, maybe tonight or tomorrow, because that's some good information, some good teaching information. But I talked about the griots on that presentation as well as my African mass presentation. I talked about the griots. So everybody should be up to date on the griots. The griots, if those that may not know, they are the historians. They are the one that collect all the information in the society. They collect all the data, all the information. So they are historians, and they pass this information down in many different ways. You know what I'm saying? The griots do. They may pass it down through. I talked about it in my drumming presentation as well. So that's why I said people that follow my presentations ought to be up to what a griot is. Even my Queen Warrior Ndongo presentation, the guy talked about the griots in a video that I showed. So, and it says it is a keep of oral tradition. The entire society used folk tales and proverbs to base on wisdom and experience through later generations. So each society, no matter where you go on the continent, they have griots. They have historians that keep up with their oral traditions and pass the oral traditions down from one generation to the next generation. They have so many proverbs and folk tales and wisdom stories that they pass from one generation to the next. The major holidays that the Mossi has was the Basagasa, a festival of Thanksgiving that comes in December after the mullet crops. And again, they were farmers. The Mossi predominantly was farmers, and this was one of how they was able to one of the economics was the mullet crops, as well as the sorghum, which they made beer from. They made beer and so forth from, but mullet was one of their biggest economics, was the mullet crops that has been harvested. The Mossi thanks the ancestors for helping with the success of the harvest. And it says the Mossi thanks the ancestors for the helping with the success of the harvest. And for those that has been looking at my presentation, or those that may already be engulfed in our traditions, in our customs, our cultures, you already know that no matter where you go on the continent, we are always revering our ancestors, because our ancestors are blessing us in certain things. And in even when we deal with the harvest, you know what I'm saying, and reaping the benefits, we always do certain things where we always have the mask involved, where we always have singing and dancing involved, where we always have the drums involved, where we always have the diviner involved, where we give reverence and honor to the ancestors as well as the creator, for sustaining certain things that we may need. Success harvest, and they are asked for the helping of the coming years of the crops. Since the revolution in 1983, its anniversary, August the 4th, has been an official national day. National holiday are celebrated with the parades, and it is now the city's bicycle race. The anniversary of the date of independence from the France, August the 5th, 1960, which I spoke briefly on a while ago. They was not in conflict for I think about 400 years, and then they went in conflict, I think, around the late 14th, early 15th century, where the Songhai Empire, they began the war with the Songhai Empire, which was a Muslim empire at that time, due to Africans being urbanized by the Muslims that came in during that area, whether you up on the Barbary Coast slave trade or the Sahara Coast slave trade, and so forth. And during that time, we see where a lot of our ancestors was converted. You will either be converted or die. So a lot of them was converted into this Arab religion that we call this Arab religion. So they fought with those guys for a little while, and then later on in the late 18th century, they was defeated by the French, and they was colonized, and they regained their independence later on, and after they gained their independence. What was it says? A revolution of 1983. Its anniversary is in 1983, and ever since then, they said this is also has been a holiday. Yeah, I know it's Islam. All right, rites of passages. Again, all these things you can see all throughout. Now, the different rites of passages may be different depending on the different society, clans, or states. The rites of passage dealing with the Mossi clan. From the birth until death, major changes in a person. Life are marked with formal rites of passages. We see this throughout African traditions. The Mossi baby is formally presented to the community 3 days after birth for a boy, 4 days after birth for a girl. Certain societies, it may be different. It may be 5 days in certain societies. It may be 7 days in certain societies where the child is presented to the community and given a name. At that time, the baby name is announced. The child is formally welcomed into the family and takes the family name. Before becoming an adult, both boys and girls is separate groups are circumcised. Boys go in groups of 15 to 30 to bush camps where they stay for 90 to 100 days to recover from operation. At the same time, they are taught by older men the things they need to know to become members of society. Full adults is marked by marriage. If you want more information about that, you can go to my channel, Kofi Pasa TV, and I have a whole presentation on African rites of passages. I go through all those demarcation stages of life. Mossi funerals are important families and religious events. Men are buried at the edge of their homes, just west of the patio area outside the wall family compound. So the men are buried near their homes, we're at the edge of their homes. Women are buried in fields of their husband's villages, but the burial ceremony is performed by members of the deceased woman's own family. So the burial ceremony, as it says, only the deceased woman's family, not her husband. The husband cannot conduct the burial. Her husband family cannot conduct it. Only the woman's family can conduct her burial ceremony. This symbolizes a woman connecting to her own family. The funeral can occur up to years after burial and sometime much later. The ceremony is what marks the passage of the dead person to the ancestors. The family must put on the funeral, which is one of the last rites of passage when you're dealing with the funeral, with the funeral rite. An elder becoming an ancestor. Marriage are arranged by lineage heads. So there are arranged marriages in the Mossi people kingdom. There are arranged marriages. They do practice polygamy. They do practice polygamy, which I have down here. Polygamy was also practiced. So polygamy was also practiced by the Mossi people as well. All right. Now, just giving you a brief thing of the capital of Ouagadougou, those states and those other states coming together, formulating the Mossi kingdom and so forth. Let's see how it all got started. Now, Yennenga, the princess Yennenga, horse riding warrior and mother of the Mossi people of Burkina Faso. She is deemed to be the mother of the Mossi people. So this is one of the folklores. This is one of the stories of the Mossi clan and how not the Mossi clan, but the Mossi people and how its conception started. And it all started with this woman here, Princess Yennenga, also known as Yennenga the Svelte, was a legendary African prince considered the mother of the Mossi Mole Dagbana people of Burkina Faso. She was a famous horse rider warrior, and that's what the Mossi was known for. Horse riding, warriors, horse riding warriors. All through the stories. If you look at some of the stories, it's dealing with them being very skilled in horse riding warriors whose son Ouedraogo founded the Mossi kingdom, the origin of the land of the honest men. The meaning of Burkina Faso is entrenched in the history of Princess Yennenga. The stallion, princess, own power animal became the important symbol in the country, and it symbolizes her passion, personal drive, and appetite for power. So it all started. And this is a statue. I can't remember exactly where. I don't know if this is in Burkina Faso. I don't know if it's in Ouagadougou. I don't know if it's in the capital or Ouagadougou, or what. I can't remember. I thought I put it on the bottom, but I didn't. But there's many statues of her around those areas, in Burkina Faso. Okay, the origin of, okay, I don't went through this. All right, in the 13th century, the Dagamba, the Maparosa, and the Nikana are ruled by powerful leaders Nidaga, whose capital located in Cambridge, north of the present-day Ghana. His daughter Poco, or Yennenga, is distinct by her Amazon-like qualities. So now I'm talking about Yennenga's father. So now we're getting into the story and her son being born, and the capital of Ouedraogo, which is the capital of the Mossi people, who were the actually would be the first king of the Mossi, which would be the More. I can't remember what the king name was, More or Maga Daba, if I'm saying that right. He will become the king. No different than these same folklores and stories that's told through our tradition. I just told you a similar story for those that looked at my what was it? Kingdom in the Congo presentation. You know, some of the same things that you see throughout, no matter what region of Africa you in. Distinct Amazon-like qualities. One day when her horse led, and I'm gonna give you two stories. There are many stories surrounding Yennenga and the conception of the Mossi kingdom and so forth. I'm gonna give you two. His daughter Poco, Yennenga, is distinct by her Amazon-like qualities. One day when her horse led her too far into the forest, she rescued by an elephant hunter named Ralel, probably Bosanas, and traditionally a royal origin. He wins the hand of Yennenga and takes her to live in the forest of Buti. The region of Gambaya, which was at that point of time was the capital of her father Nidaga, who was also a powerful ruler in that area amongst the Dagaba, the Maposa, and the Nikane people. The region of Gambaj is then overpopulated. The son Yennenga named Ouedraogo the stallion, which is the stallion, because remember, the story is surrounded around she's being a witch. Which the Mossi became the traditional of horse riding warriors. So this story here is basically telling that how Yennenga in this story here, because I'm gonna give you another account. So in this story here, she rode off into this. Her horse led her into a deep forest, and she was found by this elephant hunter. And you know, he took a liking, she took a liking on him. They began to get married, and they had this son named Ouedraogo, which means stallion. Is actually just her son name was actually named on how they met. You know, dealing with the horse riding deep off into the forest, and then the Gambaga, which was Nyana's father's region or capital, it was overpopulated. So her son Ouedraogo, he moved. This is what it's saying. Memory of the way of his parents met. Okay, Yennenga Ouedraogo, the stallion. In memory of the way his parents met, it is a natural leader of a young people. He will find Tenkodogo, and I showed you Tenkodogo, which is a state of Mossi. I showed you on a map. I showed you other regions on the map, different states of the Mossi, contracted from the Tenkodogo on earth, where he was where he had many sons. All right. The story dates back to the beginning of the 12th century. Some say the 11th century. You'll see some that's dealing with the 12th century. You'll see some dealing with the 11th century. So this folk, share, hit the like button. Yes, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Share the video. It's easy to find if you hit the like button. That's why we ask to hit the like button. Share if you like the information. Share it if you think people appreciate this information. Just bring it out. Reiterate some information Brother Ben put out, and I'm kind of going a little bit further in the information in there, but I bring you back to his video he did I think last year, and you can look at that video. You can compare both our information in here because I just wanted to bring out some more information dealing with the Mossi. Even that's where the conception of Mossi warrior clan comes from these people, the Mossi people. So I wanted to kind of get y'all a little bit more up to speed with a presentation format of that, and also just to honor the Mossi warrior clan for allowing me to be a part and be a member also. So that story or that folklore I told you, it was basically about and I'm giving you two. So the first one was specifically about we knew she was a warrior princess. Her father Nadaga had a capital in Gambaga, and she was and they was known for and she was also known. The Mossi became known for being riding horse riding warriors. This is what they was basically they was known for. So her horse took her off into the deep forest where elephant hunter Rael found her, took a liking. They took a liking. They got married. They had a son. Her son Gambaga was overpopulated, so he moved in. And we're gonna get to where he moved into. So this here is another story of surrounding around Yennenga, one of the folklores or one of the stories surrounding around her, because they are told different because they have many states. I gave you many states names and then showed you on the map a lot of the states where all the states that was in Burkina Faso and all the way down, because the Mossi went down into the Ivory Coast. They not only went down into Ivory Coast, which consumes Mali and other places. They went into Ghana. They went in Togo. They went in Benin. So the kingdom spread it abroad. So the stories might be told a little bit different, just depending on what area you are in. So there are plenty of stories. I only come across three. I'm giving you two. The stories date back to the beginning. So we got the first story. This is the second story. The story dates back to the beginning of the 12th century in the Mossi Dagamba kingdom, corresponding to the northern part of modern Ghana. Its capital was Gambaga. The kingdom of Gambaga was called Nadaga, which that was Yennenga, the princess warrior father. Dangaba was the wealth state of the natural, and prosperity attracted the attention of the neighboring people, especially Malinkis, who lived further south. Nadaga soldiers were brave, always won in any show force. The king daughter Yennenga always helped when he went to battle. So this story giving you a little bit more specific, Nadaga, which is Yennenga's father, Yennenga, the princess warrior, she went to war. She followed, and helped her father in war. No different than what Queen Gazinga did in the Congo. In the Congo. Those that may not have looked at that presentation, go back on my channel, and it's on Kofi Paisa channel. The warrior queen of Ndongo, Queen Gazinga. So some of these stories, like I say, was always similar. You know what I'm saying, in the traditions, the folklores, and the cultures, and so forth. Yennenga was a beautiful young woman. Everyone loved her. She was also an extraordinary horsewoman. She rode horses much better than her brothers, and even better than the kingdom warriors. She was also the brave warrior, adapted to using javelins, spears, and bows. Princess Yennenga was not only to marry because she was not allowed to marry. Now, this story, she was not allowed to marry because she was a great warrior princess. Her father did not want her to be married. So the princess in Yennenga took a horse and fled north into what is now called Mossi country. So in the first story, her horse took her off into the deep forest where she was lost, and she was found by Rael, the elephant hunter. This story, where they got married, had a son. Her son moved from Gambaga and moved into Tenkodogo, which he founded, and later on, Ouagadougou became the capital of the Mossi, which I think it is named after him, if I'm not mistaken. Princess Yennenga was not allowed to marry because she was a great warrior. So Princess Yennenga took a horse and fled north into what is now called Mossi country. She married a local man. Their son, named Ouedraogo, which means stallion, was sent back to his mother's homeland to be raised by his grandfather. Now, this one, he was sent back. You know, in the other one, he was there and then he left, and he left and went to Tenkodogo, the place that he founded. Grandfather Naba Nedago. When he grew up, he returned to north of the cavalry from his homeland and conquered his father's people. Now he's returning back to the place that his mother fled to his father and conquered that place. The Bassa, the marriage of the Ouedraogo and his troops of Bassa women produced the Mossi people. A statue of Princess Yennenga on horseback in the city of Ouagadougou commemorated the story. So, and again, like I said, I showed you two statues previously. This is one here with Princess Yennenga on the horse. Here's another one with her here with the spear and the bow, because again, she became mighty with the sword, the bow, and the spear. All right, this is her son. On attaining Ouedraogo left Cambiga to settle further north into Tenkodogo, the old land. Founded a new dynasty for the Mossi. This small town southeast of Ouagadougou is still revered as the cradle of powerful Mossi Empire, the solid centralized political organization of the empire, and its armies and horsemen enabled it to dominate the entire region. The children of Ouagadougou we're naming some of his sons. Zefran, who succeeded him to the throne of Tenkodogo. Another, Raoul, went north and founded the kingdom of Zadu. So this is talking about how the kingdoms began to spread after Yennenga's son founded Tenkodogo, and then he had other sons, you know, went out and spreaded the kingdom. Lupape Dabo, who settled in Pama east of Tenkodogo and founded the kingdom of Goma. Obure, direct descendant of Zograin, left with his strong army under his command for the conquest of other territories to the west. He attacked Kambatinga, the land of the warriors, and the capital of Yonase or Garuse people, the first inhabitants of Burkina Faso. It fell under Mokan domination, which only means king. After heavy fighting, determines to make its capital anew. Her renamed it Ouagadougou, come honor me, which became Ouagadougou. So in the beginning, it was Ouagadougou, and then it became Ouagadougou, which became the capital of the Mossi people, and proclaimed himself the Mahu Naba, or the Mora Naba, leader of the Mossi Empire, or king of the Mossi Empire, or head of the Mossi Empire. Created the first warrior dynasty of Obru Tinge, land of Obri. He later shared his kingdom by giving a block to each of his 333 descendants. Their early Mossi kingdoms, Tenkodogo, Ouagadougou, and Gorumu, were therefore created in the 15th century or earlier than the 15th century. This is just one account. This is another account. So here, the More Naba. At the top of the hierarchy, it was the empire. The Mogo Nagaba, a symbol of the sun. And also, Winas was also a symbol of the sun, like we see in Kemet. We know Ra is a symbol of the sun. So their supreme deity will be a symbol of the sun. We know that their king will also be a deity, will become a supreme deity, so forth. The same thing you see here in the Mossi tradition as well. He was revered as God, elected by a senior dignitary of the court. He was chosen from among the descendants of the Orube. In fact, the kingdoms of Orube Tinga immediately took ascendance over other Mossi kingdoms. Power was consecrated in the hands of the emperor, who was at the same time head of the army, supreme judges, and general collector taxes and levies. As for empire, it consists of the kingdom divided into provinces, which were subdivided into fiefdoms. Each comprised several villages. The blacksmith sculptors formed a separate caste and lived in separate quarters. They migrated exclusively within the caste. They were feared by their neighbors and participated in activities and rituals. And I talked about the blacksmiths in one of my presentations. It might have been the African presentations where I was talking about those who created the mask. Those people had to be versed in the traditions and go through some types of rite because they had to activate the mask in order to invoke the ancestors. So I talked about this in the African mask presentation that I did, and also in my African masquerade presentation that I did a couple of weeks ago. So check both of those out because I go specifically in there and I talks about the blacksmith, especially in the African mask, how they were separated from the society, had their own places. They was kind of feared, and they was like they was higher upper echelon, so they was heavily revered for the things that they was able to do. They were feared by their neighbors and participated in active rituals. Because some of them had to participate, be versed in the things like I was talking about. Some of them had to activate the masks, because some of them, when you're dealing with the masquerades and even with the masks that they wore, even with the Mossi, they was farmers. So they would have these things going on during the harvest, and during when they reaping the benefits from the harvest, they would sing and dance where the drums will be present, the mask will be present, and they would dance and sing and invoke the ancestors and the supreme deity and give thanks to them for certain things. But the mask was actually an interface between the spiritual world and the physical world. So these blacksmiths, they had to go through certain types of tradition, certain types of things in order to be able to invoke the power of the spirits into the mask. Once the masquerader wore the mask and would do certain things, sing and dance and invoke the ancestors, where the ancestor will mount them. Some say the ancestor will mount them or possess them, where the ancestor will come back and speak and do certain things. If it's a dispute going on in the neighborhood, they would do these same things with the mask and so forth, and the ancestors will come back and resolve the issues that's going on in the society, or reiterate the laws that they have left behind. Because again, all African traditions are based on good character, Iwa Pele or Iwa Riwi, not Iwa Baruru, which means good or bad character, or Isfat, which means also you could say chaos or confusion or bad character. You see, so these were some bad people, these blacksmiths. I mean, I'm not in the bad sense as evil, but these were some bad jokers. They made jewelry, metal, wood sculptures, statues, masks, brass figures, and wood ancestor figures are controlled by the Mossi ruling elite. Maintaining good relationships with the ancestors and variety of supernatural forces is a major concern of Mossi rituals and motivated productions in the region. Figures are used by ruling classes and violate political power, and masks are used by conquered people to honor the spirits of the wilderness and control the forces of nature. The aristocrats used status, even though it had adopted Islam in the 17th century. For most of the part, females linked to the power of the chiefs. These figures commemorated ancestors and were kept inside the hut, and you can see this in Guana Bassoon area. The same things what they did with these figures. When people would die, they would carve these figures of their ancestors that may have passed and house them in different shrines. And for those that may want to get up on that presentation as well, Guana Bassoon, which is dedicated to the women run that society. It was a matriarchal society. I broke down what is matriotic and what is patriotic when we dealing with with the African concept. It is totally different than the matriotic and patriotic system, what we're engulfed to this European matriotic and patriotic system. But check that out. But you can see the same thing with people passing, and they're carving these figures and stuff and housing them in these different shrines or in the homes. Same way you see here with the Mossi people. Ancestors were kept inside the hut of the oldest of the wise. They appeared only at the funerals of the sovereign and at the time of an annual sacrifice when the first fruits of the harvest would be offered. All right. On this side, you can see some of the elaborate tall masses that the Mossi wore here. Lineage and clans of the indigenous Tangabalas inhabitants owned the mask, and the large groups of the farmers of the groups of smiths employed a variety of the masks. So a lot, and again, a lot of the Mossi was farmers, and they had a society called the Tengabizi. The Tengabizi was those that were large groups of farmers or a blacksmith that employed or housed or hold these masks. Mossi sculptures are mostly famous for their polychrome masks. The farmers, children of the earth, and descendants of the Autochthones still use huge masks. Formerly, these masks were regarded as a seat of the spirit, as I explained earlier. But I talked about the blacksmith, and those had to go through certain things to invoke the power of the spirits into those masks and so forth. But they might represent a totem animals of the clans, which I'll show you some of the animal masks real quick. Each family will refer to a periodic myth explaining the mass origins. Generally, the most catastrophic. I'm not going to read all of that, but again, just because I already talked about that, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the mass, who had the mass, but those their society was the Tengabizi, the Tengabizi tribe, and so forth. And it was also stories that was creation stories. The same way that I showed you on my African drum presentation. You know, I talked about the drums had a creation story as well as the mass had a creation story. We know we have the cosmologies of these different societies talk about how the universe and beings and so forth came into existence. The same thing with the drums, the mass, and so forth. And I'll keep it paused here for a second. Well, you can just go back and review the video. If you want to read the rest of it, you can go through there. All right. I talked about some of the idols dealing with the ancestors passing. They're making these certain sculptures and so forth, and housing them in these shrines or whatever. Here was one that was called the Bajiga. The blacksmith also used the sculpture called the Bagiga, often covered with leather. Here's the leather Bagiga here, decorated with cowrie shells. This here does not have the cowrie shells and beads. The function, and it says cowrie shells and beads. They didn't say crystals. They didn't say crystals. It said cowrie shells and beads. I always have to say that because I see so many of our brothers and sisters intertwine other cultures into our African cultures. They didn't say stones and crystals. They said cowrie shells and beads. The function of these wooden dolls, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but again, I just trying to keep reiterating that so we won't get that mixed up. Function of these wooden dolls goes well beyond the game planning. Hold on. Okay. Well beyond the game planning. As an educational toy, the baga was dressed, washed, and carried on the back or placed on the ground under the mother's eye. The baga has a complex symbolism that at first glance seems contradictory. For the little girl, it is at one of the same time the power that will cause her to have a child and the baby she is learning to care for. It is like a fertility thing. A bagaga passed from mother to daughter or from sister to sister. So this thing was passed on. The bagas have cylindric bases, arms and legs are missing. The arms and legs are missing. But the pendulous breast, which you see the breast, symbolizes a motherhood and a sentence. The crisscrossing stuff that doesn't belong from our culture. Yeah, they be crisscrossing a lot. All right. These are just some of the Mossi masses and sculptures here that I just snatched off of Google Chrome real quick, but you can see as some of the blacksmiths they made these different types of sculptures dedicated to the ancestors, those that may have passed, and they housed in these different shrines. So you can see some of the sculptures, you can see some of the masses here. Same here, you can see some of the masses that the Mossi has. Some of them, you know. All right. So now I'm finished with that. We're gonna go into the Mossi real quick. This almost concludes my presentation, but I want to go into the Mossi warrior clan. I wanted to give y'all the Mossi warrior people, the conception of the Mossi warrior kingdom, whether the Mossi warrior kingdom extended from Burkina Faso to the Ivory Coast, to Ghana, to Togo, into Benin. Who was the Mossi people? It was a conglomerate of people that made up the Mossi. You know, so now I'm going to play this little clip here, and then we'll get into the Mossi warrior clan, which will probably be about 5 or 10 more minutes of y'all time, and this will conclude my presentation after this, and we get into the Mossi warrior clan of 2018. So let's rock out with me for a second.
He called for the unity and the redemption of the African world.
Salute them honorable Marcus.
We are not ready to listen then.
They might not have been ready then.
There's wonder whether we are ready.
Ain't no doubt about it.
To listen.
We ready, baby.
Now.
Let's go. Yeah.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high. Black kiss in the sky, waving side to side. It's the flag fly high.
Come on.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
All these G's on the rise, all eyes are recognized.
Flag fly high.
Hold it high. Let it fly. Rebel colors forever. Mommy will never die. On my 90, the throne ready. Let's take a ride. Hey, what big men don't choose a side. This is the plan for the warriors. So travel yet still bad glorious. Yeah. Black power represents us. Do we go rolling with Africa or against us?
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
Black kiss in the sky, waving side to side.
It's the flag fly high.
Come on.
Flag fly high, flag fly high, flag fly high.
I ain't gonna play the whole video, but I wanted just to play a little snippet of the flag fly high, just to introduce what I'm going into next. We the Mossi warrior clan honor the Mossi people, honoring the spirits, honoring the spirits of the fighting the French and the resistance religions. We will use the Mossi people same model today, which is to fight white racist supremacy and resist Western religion. Because throughout all the culture, they fought. I told you in the early 14th century, they fought against the Songhai Empire. They wasn't in conflict for over 400 some years, and then they went and fought the Songhai Empire, who were Muslim, that was Africans that was converted by the Arabs into their Arab religion, and they resisted. This is what they was also famous for, resisting religion, Islam and Christianity, and they stayed away from that up into the 18th or the early 19th century. I think the late 18th century, when they was conquered by the French and so forth, and then regained their independence in 1984. I think August the 4th or 5th of 1984, somewhere in there. But that is our statement. We honor the Mossi was concepted. The Mossi warrior clan was put together by brother Ben and brother Uncle back in 2006, and they formulated the Mossi warrior clan. And I guess it was expired. They was expired by the Mossi people, and they created the Mossi warrior clan, a group of young scholars coming together to share and put out information, specifically in the West Africa region. So we're gonna continue to represent that same model that the Mossi people had, and that is to fight white supremacy and resist Western religion. All right, you got any Haret Sean Calfunny. Yes, we will fight racist white supremacy. This is a steel shot. So you said you wanted the steel shot, saying Sean. So here you got any Haret Sean Calfunny. You got Benjamin Njai, who we know as Black Panther. Which is one of the founding members here is Benjamin now, also with Uncle Ket. We'll get to Uncle Ket. So, brother, Any Haret is a new member. I'm also a new member as well as the Mossi Warrior Clan, because if you go back to 2006, you had 2 or 3 other members that are no longer a member of the Mossi, and you starting to see a few new faces. And me and Sean is the last edition of not the last edition, but or so far the last edition of the Mossi Warrior Clan. But they still taking people, and Brother Ben is also asking for, trying to get women into the Mossi Warrior Clan as well. And there was a woman in the Mossi Warrior Clan at one time here. But Sean, everybody knows Sean. Sean is me and Sean are called the presentation monsters. We are always doing presentations after presentations. So this is something that we like doing. We like sharing information. We like putting the information out there. So Sean offering to the Mossi Warrior Clan, we know he's with Kemet, so he's offering a perspective from the Kemet side, and he's offering he's going to be offering West African history on the slave trade. So if you keep up with his presentations, which is a lot of powerful presentations, this brother is giving you going deep into the kidnapping trade. He's exposing the people that was involved in the kidnapping trade, especially the Portuguese, which we don't talk about as much. Them was some bad guys, and he talked about the technology for them to be able to set sail and so forth, which is that video is on the Mossi Warrior channel. So check that out. He's got a few videos already on there where he speaks about the Portuguese. I just put one of the Portuguese in the Congo. That's his lane, but I stepped in there for a minute to bring some information because I was inspired by his back-to-back presentations on that. And that's what it's all about, surrounding yourself around people that can inspire you and motivate you and push you to be the best that you can be. Here we got Brother Ben. We know Brother Ben. Brother Ben, you know what Brother Ben offered to the Mossi Warrior Clan, and that is African spirituality. He said that's his lane. He's gonna stay in his lane, and that's African spirituality. This guy is a great presenter, and I've been studying Brother Ben for a while for his techniques on how he's present information. So African spirituality is what Brother Ben offer, which that's not new. Everybody know that's his lane. That's what he does. African spirituality. He has a few videos on the Mossi Warrior Clan. Check that out. The last one was I can't remember, something with African energy. Dang, it's slipping my mind the title of it, but it was his recent one. He has one coming up with the Ekbe people, which is going to be a powerful presentation. He's going to present that sometime next week, so be on the lookout for that. Also, the brother has a book out, you know what I'm saying, already, a small children book. Aaron knows about Africa with him and Nauma H. Bradley M.Ed. So it's also available on Amazon.com. So the Mossi also has published work out there. So check out that. Check out that publication by Brother Ben and the sister. He also has 2 books coming up, which I'm not gonna give at this time because I know he probably killed me if I tell y'all the titles of the book. But me and gonna be on it. 2019, the book's supposed to be He's supposed to be putting out 2 books. So be on the lookout for Brother Ben's 2 books. Somebody want to say something?
Yeah, said Kofi. Let me. I just wanted to, piggyback, well, veggie back off of what you were saying about Brother Ben. Um, Whenever I needed a reference or a source that I can go and revert to, Brother Ben has always been in constant contact with that particular information. Um, I look to him a lot for a lot of things. He led me in the direction of University of Kemet Press. And the first book he told me, he said, if you want to read any book, I would highly recommend this book. And my eye was the first thing that came out of his mouth. And every time he recommends a particular book, it is inspirational toward my psyche as an African and my studies and trying to make, everybody a better person. But as far as the presentation, it's called The Power of Energy in African Traditions. He also wrote an article on that, which I might get ahead of Kofi because he kind of elaborating and I'm intruding on his presentation, but
You good?
I'll let you get back to it.
Go ahead. You
That's
good,
all I
bro?
had. I just wanted to throw that in. No, I'm done, man. I just wanted to throw that in out there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and he has a article out there too. Y'all go check that out. It's on his website is on his website as well. So go check that out and support them. So those are the 2 brothers. I'm just trying to get y'all up to speed to who the members are and what they offering and what we got coming up and what each individual got coming out. Um, let the curtain go back. I thought that was neat. Here you have Fortune Belize, Fortune Favorite, known by some, and you have Brother Nahisi right here. One Aware means great elder, the Sinamasi warrior clan. But you have Fortune Belize, uh, excuse me, which is which he's going to be hopefully in the near future he's going to be putting out documentaries. So he's going to be offering documentaries. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have his feet cemented to the pavement. And he's going to be bringing back information. He's kind of like our relations guy. So he's going to be going out in the community, seeing what's going on in the community. And so, for somebody got something to say,
Yeah, Brother Fortune, man, is the youngest member of the clan, by the way.
yeah,
Not only is activism his lane, he's very well studied in the religious territory because he can debunk plenty of Hebrews and he'll go against the grain with them all day long. But his perspective and lane is very necessary in what we do, especially from a youth perspective, and his music is good as well. So look up Fortune. He has some very good music out there, and brother Nahisi. I ain't gonna interrupt you no more after this one, but
yes, you
you
will.
know, big
It's
brother
all good.
Nahisi, man, is a scientific genius. Uh, I expect some great things. Well, we all can expect some great things coming from Big Brother Nahisi. He is a great mentor. He's a quiet leader. He's very inspirational. And if when he speaks, it is very necessary when he speaks because it's jewels every time he drop. He don't really elaborate much, but when he speaks, his information is so on point. And look for some presentations and stuff from Big Bro Nahisi because he got some stuff up his sleeve. Don't let him fool you.
Yep. I just wish he come out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because he, like I say, he's very scientifically. So he's going to be offering, that scientific uh, standpoint to the Mossi Warrior clan. So be looking out for some of his upcoming things. He also has a book. I can't wait to get. The book is called. I'll make sure I get it right because I wrote it down. African Journey: The Development of an African Species. So be looking out for that book. I think he said that's supposed to be at the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. Then he said at the end of the year, Sean?
Till end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year. So again, the name of the book is called African Journey, The Development of an African Species. So be on the lookout for Brother Nahisi's book. And again, he offers that his lane is that scientific lane. Here you got Brother Azez Fall here, and you have Brother Ankaket. Excuse me, and Brother Azez is off. He's I guess you could say he dabbles in linguistics, so he's going to be offering to the Mossi warrior clan that linguistic side for his comparative studies with Wolof and the meta nature. So he's doing a comparison between the two. So he's a linguistic. I think Brother Azez, is he also from Senegal too? Because I think he speaks he
He is
speaks
from West
Wolof.
Africa. Yeah, he speaks Wolof. You're correct. And linguistic studies is his lane. He's very, very, and he took Saber Jawa's class as well. So he studied on both.
Yep, that's right. And the brother speak French. So he also speaks French. So he's going to be offering that linguistic stuff to the Mossi warrior clan. And everybody knows Brother Uncle Cat. Uncle Cat is going to be offering paleontology. You know what I'm saying, to the Mossi warrior clan. He's very scientific as well. And he also is a founding member of the Mossi warrior clan. Because again, Brother Ump and Brother Ben formed the Mossi warrior clan back in 2000, in 2006. Yep. God
Hey,
dang.
just to add to it, Unc also has another published work coming out.
Give him
And if
the
you
first
start,
one.
who Unc?
Yeah, the first one. Well, the first one was
Yeah,
the chronology of human evolution was the first book.
yes. That's his first book. He has a second book dropping. Hopefully he drop it soon. Which is a thicker book. It's a maybe. I think he probably got about 4 or 5 next book. No telling. So a lot of work has gone into that particular book that he's working on. He's got the Cultural Center up and running. He's got Abjuware up and running. Support Brother He's not just talking it, he's living it. The crew, the Amara squad has done a magnificent job doing lectures around Atlanta in particular libraries, um, free, no charge and none of that. Just come in, sit down, get some information, build. Afterwards, you go and you sit down. Man, Unc is like a celebrity. I'm talking about when we go out, yo, these people recognize him left and right, and they be like, man, and it's excitement, but he's so humble with it. It's like it's kind of like shocking to him. It's like what? Huh? He don't look at it the way that other people look at it, but you see the reaction, and some people kind of like starstruck style when they see Brother But humble dude, man. I've met him. I've sat down with him several times. I've built with him a lot of times. My family's met him. We appreciate and love Brother Unc and everything that he's actually doing for the community. I let him know that all the time. And he's easy to reach and communicate with if anybody really want to build with him. You can ask anybody that really ever had a conversation with him. You've seen him over the past few years and months. He's transitioned into a different level, and by dealing with the cultural center, a place now that Amara Squad actually has a home. So the Mossi, we actually have a home. The Seshu, we actually have a home. Archers, the Voices of Fire, everybody under the umbrella Dagger Squad, MBK, we all have a home. So if you in Atlanta, man, go down there and support Brother.
Right, right. All right. Now you have I'm in Ma'at Ra, and you have Keon Shabazz. Everybody know Keon as class of Shabazz. So I'm in Ma'at Ra. Be looking for. I'm in Ma'at Ra. He's in the process of putting out another book. I'm gonna run down his book. So the Mossi also has other publications besides Brother Ben and Brother Uncle. I'm in my Aunt Ra. He's also working on a few presentations. I've been chopping it up with him back and forth over the phone for maybe what recently, but we've been chopping it up over social media for about 2 or 3 years or whatever, and we just started chopping it up over the phone a lot. And this brother, his name of his books is The Roman Illusion, Volume 1 is Christianity Exposed, Volume 2 is Judaism Exposed, and Volume 3 is Islam Exposed. And his recent publication or his recent text is The Amun Ra Illusion, Volume 1, which I have read 5 times and I think I have used as a source in 2 of my presentation. And he's currently updating his all 4 of his books all the time with newer information. So he's continuing to update his books, and he's also has another book uh, that's coming out, I think, at the end of the year, and that is the Amun Ra Illusion Volume 2. So I recommend that you get all those books. Amun Ra Illusion Volume 1 is a very powerful book. Again, I have read it 4 times. His brother is a great author, steady putting out great information. So check that brother out and be looking forward for some presentations. He's going to be on my channel, Kofi Paisai TV, here soon to present some information. So be looking forward for a few presentations from him. And when he's also what he's bringing is Kemet, you know what I'm saying? Because he indulged in the Metanetter as well. And you can see that all throughout the Amun Ra Illusion Volume 1 book. So his lane is Kemet as well as West African history. So he deals with West African too. So the information, so it's Kemet and West African history. So be looking forward for some of his presentation and his new books. And you can get his books are available on Amazon.com. Then you have Brother Shabazz here. Brother Shabazz, he has a channel, YouTube channel. I think it's called Class of Shabazz as well. His lane is Moorish history and West Africa. So he deals with Moorish history and he dwells with West Africa. So he bring that Moorish dynamic into West Africa. That's his lane. You can look at he has a recent presentation, man. I don't know if I wrote it. It wrote it down because I was trying to write it down so I can get a name so people can go directly to it. But it's on the channel. It's called Mansa Musa, the complete breakdown into the complete breakdown. So that's on the Master Warrior channel, and then he has a lot of information on his channel. So go subscribe to his channel, Class of Shabazz. I think he has another one I looked at also intro to West African history, and he just has a lot of stuff on his channel. So go check that brother. YouTube channel out. Check out that presentation that he has on the Master Warrior Clan channel, and check out all his presentations that he has on his channel as well. All right. This is me. This is the last member. Now, I didn't put it like this. I just did it because it ain't but 9 members. So I couldn't double it up. So I don't want nobody to say I put myself. I ain't want to be in there with nobody else.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh. Tell the truth, man. You want to put yourself last, man. It's okay. Hey, before you build, shout out to Amun Ma'at Ra. The brother is a very well studied gentleman. He don't mind critique. He goes back and correct information in his work. So anybody that's actually purchasing any of his recent works is getting updated information because he's went back and intentionally corrected a lot of things that he has grown up on and has gathered more information on, and he's fixed those things. So he's not afraid to critique or anyone coming at him about his work. He will embrace your information, and if he has information that refutes your information, he don't mind stating the facts on that. And Clash of Shabazz, man, has been killing it for a while now. Um, I watched that brother's videos multiple times when he goes in because he takes it there. Like Kofi said, his lane is Moorish history, West African history. He even gets into the Islam part of it and so forth. But he brings out information that you really don't hear spoken of in history, especially these other guys that turn around and put themselves in places that they don't even come from or have an affiliation with or try to identify themselves as something bigger than what they are. So his correction, especially toward and other entities, is needed. So I appreciate I appreciate both brothers for doing the work and continue to do the work. And I'm looking forward to another Clash of Shabazz presentation because he's been quiet lately. So when he quiet, he cooking. But that's all, Kofi. Now we gotta listen to Kofi talk about Kofi, y'all. This should be interesting.
I'm gonna let you talk because I want you to come and talk too because you done talked about everybody else. I want you to talk whether you
I
like
don't
my
want to talk about you, Kofi. I don't want to talk about you. Nah.
but no, I mean,
Uh,
but I was just going, with
let me say this.
all right.
Let me say this before you go in about yourself. I might stop you, but man, I met this brother, and I've always had a profound feeling for the brother. And like I said, like we say when we say brother, me and Kofi the same. When we say that's my brother, we literally mean it. Brother from another mother. That's my brother, and I like everything that Kofi does. Kofi is well studied. Kofi walks it how he talks it. He will deliver the message exactly how he got it if he has to. There's no stretching the truth with Kofi. He has a son he loves and adores. He pours his heart out for his people, his son, his family, his circle, those that he confines in. Very passionate and loving and caring brother that I appreciate every day. Um, he says that I motivate him to do things, but I used to sit back and listen to Kofi go in on subject matters that was very inspiring. Kofi is one of the first voices to speak up for me in matters, recommend me on matters, go out the way to contact me on particular matters, and I appreciate Kofi for everything that Kofi does for not only the session but for the Mossi and also for his son and the people. And in no particular order, because I know the head is his son first. That's his very first thing that he always mentions or clings to. So if you don't know anything about Kofi, then you don't, you tripping. Kofi got a YouTube channel that he's been pubbing and plugging in every presentation that he gives. It deserves support and respect. Is scholarship on there. Um, it is especially, driven toward the African mind, and it is for people, like-minded individuals that are looking to live not only that particular lifestyle, but also continue to do work and grow from the information that has been spoken upon. He drops jewels every day. He's not a big Facebook poster, but if he's presenting some information, he is a big presenter. Now, Kofi used to be shy. He would only talk in the back chat. He would not talk to anybody during the show. He would minimize his talking. He is the king of introductions. He has the longest introduction in the session. So he goes last intentionally, but his unique ability to memorize this information, critique that information, cross-reference that information, and present information to the world is very unique. He has, if you haven't listened to him long enough, he has so much information in his brain. He tends to want to get it all out in one presentation. But I've been keeping them on a time schedule lately for the simple fact that that our people can only digest so much. Now, Kofi also has a book that he hasn't put out yet. We're still waiting on it, and he'll get into that. But I just wanted to speak for Kofi about Kofi. Now he can talk about himself.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. You used to mimic me saying send that Monica. What you used to say? But yeah, I appreciate, man, everything you said. Yeah, man, I am a passionate brother, man, and I love sharing information. I love reading, and I just love just being African. And like he stated, I do have a book that's just been brewing. It's just been some issues, that personal issues been going on for far as my book, The 75 Names of Ra and the Many Manifestations of Him. I did a presentation called The 75 Names of Ra, which I took information from my book. So if you want to look at that presentation, you can go look at that presentation. It's on Kofi, on my YouTube channel, Kofi Paisa TV. Um, and you can go look at that video, and it's information that I actually took from my book and put in there. So hopefully, I've been talking to brother. I'm in my Aunt Ra, which is a member of Mossi Warrior Clan. So hopefully, he's gonna help me. Get that on get that on out there, man. I had a few bumps in the road. A few people promised me a few things and didn't come through, but it's all good. But be on the lookout for it. I don't want to give no distinct date like I did the last time, and I uh didn't deliver. So I'm not gonna give a date out and then don't deliver this time. I'm not gonna do y'all like that. But just be on the lookout soon for the book 75 Names of Ra. Um, and also be looking out for a book that I don't know about. I don't know what the name gonna be. Hopefully, me and Sin Sean can do the book. Me and Sin Sean talked about doing something, a book together with our presentations, and put them together into a book format, because we both, between the two, I mean, we can definitely put out a 300 to 400 page, 500-page book with the information that the information that we have. So hopefully, I can get him on board and we can put that book out together here soon, because I don't think it'll take that long to, put it together. I think we just have to sit down and get some time together and see how we're gonna do it, and what's gonna be what for the chapter, the name of the book, and so forth. But hopefully we'll get that together. So be on the lookout for those two things. And my lane is, I'm offering, for those that follow me, my lane is Kemet. I'm also a part of the Seshuma Ani Metaneta. So I studied up under Saber Wujao, which is my Saber, which means teacher. So I studied the Metaneta. So I deal with the Metaneta. I deal with the running Kemet, which is the language, the writing and the language of Kemet. Uh, my area is in Kemet, and my area is also in West Africa. I have particularly been once introduced to Brother Ben, and as Shan Sean was saying, just the book recommendations. A lot of the books that the brother recommended to me, and a lot of his presentations that he said, I looked at a Brother Ben, it just resonated with me and had me to go to West Africa. So when I studied West Africa, uh, I it just connects a little bit more than Kemet. Even though Kemet's my foundation and that's where I'm at too, but I love my West African roots, and so I'm gonna be bringing, not as well as Kemet, but I'm gonna be bringing that West African tradition and culture. So that's my lane, West African tradition and culture. So if you look at my presentations and been following my presentations, and you've been on my YouTube channel, everything that deals with our culture and our traditions, you name it, it's on my channel. So that's what I'm bringing, just our traditions. So I'm just trying to get people up to date on our tradition and our culture, so we can become practitioners, you know what I'm saying, of the culture. That means start to take what we learn from take our traditions and our culture and actually implement it. Being a practitioner, practicing our culture and our traditions embedded in our everyday life, and resist what has been given to us. You know what I'm saying? So that's my lane right there. Um, and I appreciate everybody for looking at taking the time out to look at the presentations. look at my presentation. I appreciate everybody for taking the time out yesterday and looking at the presentations. We'll be on here a little bit more on the Mossi channel as well as on. I'll be doing stuff on my channel as well as on Facebook. I'm quite sure the same for Sin Sean. He's going to be on here as well as on Facebook, and then I'm gonna get him back on my channel to do something here soon as too. So just be on the lookout for our our presentations, because we're gonna keep beating you in the head with this information, with these presentations. I may take a break for about a week or two. I don't know. I may have a show coming up on my channel Saturday or either Sunday, but I don't want to say, because every time I say something, people don't come through and do what they say they're gonna do. So if it happened, it happened. I'll be doing a show with two brothers either Saturday or Sunday. So just be on the lookout for that. It may happen, it may not happen. I don't want to keep saying stuff and it don't come, it don't come into tuition. Our next presentation I'll be doing is on the Bandu Society. Like I said, I don't know if it's gonna be next week or whatever, but I'm taking a break. I've done 4 presentations in a week and a half, so I'm taking a vacation. Again, I appreciate it. Huh?
So he says, ladies and gentlemen. So he says he's taking a break.
Yeah, I mean, if I do, it ain't gonna be but like a week or two, man. A week or two. I don't know, but I'm gonna start jumping into this Bundle Society presentation.
That actually means a day.
Huh?
Come
Say
on,
what now?
A week or two means I'm gonna take a day off.
It may. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired, y'all. I like that though. That slide. I hope y'all like that little slide stuff, man. I think that was just dope. The little curtains coming back, man. But here are my references. As just always, we always put our references up here before we get through. We don't mind you going and vetting or scrutinizing our references. We don't mind critique. I know I don't mind critique, because I feel like that's the only way I'll be able to grow is through critique. So I won't get in my feelings like some people may get in their feelings. You know what I'm saying? We ought to be able to critique each other. We ought to help each other out. But please come at me in the right way. Don't come at me trying to stroke your ego. You know what I'm saying? And look like the big dog in the room. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You may not get no type of response from me, if you come at me like that. But if you come at me with good character, you come at me sincere, I don't mind listening and updating information or deleting information. As I stated, that's why I always give a disclaimer before I give out any type of information. So you can pause it later on. You can go back and look at my sources, get the sources. I got some articles, I got some books and so forth on here that I extrapolated information and so forth from. Here is please subscribe to the channels. And I got the SESU, which I'm a member of the SESU Ma'ani Metanetter. We deal with the language, the Rani Kemet. We deal with the writing, the SESU Metanetter. So please go and subscribe to that channel. We have a lot of content on that channel. So please subscribe to that channel. Brother Seba Wuja, which is our Seba. He just did something today on Facebook. Go check it out. But I know he's going to be uploading it to the SESU channel here pretty soon. Here is my channel, Kofi Paisai TV. Please go subscribe to the channel. Please support me. Again, my channel is the channel that takes the black woman, the black man, and black child Eurocentric mind and Africanize it. Or I'm gonna use what Brother Jadar said. My channel is the African Netflix. So if you want to get your girl and your child and Netflix and chill, watch my African Netflix channel. You know what I'm saying? So please support me on there. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's to take the black man, black woman, black child, Eurocentric mind and Africanize it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get us back to practicing our traditions and our culture, not just studying it and learning, but actually taking it and applying that application to our lives, embedded into our lives, walking it and talking it and living it. Also subscribe to the Mossi Warrior channel. I'm also a member of that as well. So please subscribe to our channel. We're going to continue to put information up on the channel. We're going to continue to try to put our publicational work. So please support everybody that I show up on the channel. I hope the information that was given on the Mossi Warrior Clan. I hope everybody appreciate the information that I gave on not on the Mossi Warrior Clan, because we know there was no such thing as a Mossi Warrior Clan until 2006, which was expired by the Mossi people. You know what I'm saying? So hope the Mossi presentation that I did kind of got y'all up to speed of who the Mossi is and how the kingdom came together, and you know what I'm saying, and so forth. Uh, on that note, man, I just want y'all to remember one thing. I want y'all to remember, man, the Mossi Warrior Clan flags are still flying high. So again, man, I just want to say Modupe, man, Dupe Pupu, which means many things. I want to say Moriri, which means appreciate or appreciation. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in to rock out with me and rock out with Sin Sean. I appreciate y'all supporting me. I appreciate y'all supporting my brother Sin Sean. We're gonna continue to be busting y'all in the head. Be looking out for Brother Ben's presentation. Be looking out for the other brothers in the Mossi Warrior Clans publications, their presentations, their articles, and so forth. Oh yeah, I'm finna start working on my article that I talked about. I did 3 presentations last week. I did it on the Congo. I called it the Congo week. So I did 3 presentations. I pushed myself to do 3 presentations. So I did 3 presentations. So I did the Portuguese in the Congo. I did Warrior King of Ndongo, which is also a part of the Congo Kingdom, which is now called Ndongo, is called Angola now. And so I did that one, and then I did the Kingdom of the Congo. So I did 3 presentations last week that specifically dealing with Central Africa, dealing with the Congo Empire. So I'm going to do an article because I still wanted to bring information. I had my timekeeper. My timekeeper is seeing Sean, so I had to stay on my time. So I wanted to put some more information out there because, like I said, I be having so much going on running through my head, so I can't get it all out in one presentation. So I'm going to do an article on the Kingdom of the Congo. Maybe in the next 2 weeks I'll have it done, but I'm gonna try to get it done and then try to shoot it to a few people. Send Sean, uh, uh, Brother Ben, um, and maybe somebody else just to look over it. You know what I'm saying, before I actually submit it. I don't know where I'm gonna submit it at. Maybe submit it on the Mossi Warrior Clan channel. Yeah, that's what I do. I submit it on Brother Ben's YouTube, not YouTube, but Brother Ben website. But on that note, man, again, I just want to say Modupe, you know what I'm saying, and Moriri. We out of here. You got any last words, saying Sean, before I shut the broadcast down?
Nah, Shimon Hotel, Ebbet.
We out of here. Peace, family.